this election cycle, there are a few rising stars in the Republican Party, and some might surprise you. Dana Perino is here with much more. Dana.
Thanks, Sean. This year, GOP candidates around the country are shattering the stereotype of your typical Republican. From Cuban-American Marco Rubio to the outspoken African-American war veteran Lieutenant Colonel Allen West to Indian-American Nikki Haley, who could become South Carolina's first female governor. And tonight, we're going to take a closer look at 4 others who are poised to make history on Election Day.
Issues of jobs.
Carrot is a carrot.
Welcome to 2010, a year in which your grandfather's grand old party is no more.
What?
Candidates from all walks of life and a variety of diverse backgrounds are helping to inject new life into the Republican Party.
The Republican Party represents hope and opportunity and entrepreneurship.
In Orange County, California, Van Tran is looking to upset 7-term Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez. Born in Vietnam, Tran's parents immigrated to America in search of a better life. Like many other naturalized citizens, Tran was drawn to the conservative ideals of the GOP.
It's a great pleasure to be here on behalf of Van Tran.
Why the Republican Party for you?
The party represents a very poignant way issues and values and principles that first-generation immigrants, the newest citizens, care about.
Tran's not alone. 31-year-old Hispanic American Jamie Herrera is facing off with Democrat Denny Heck in the state's 3rd congressional district.
I invite you to join with us.
Herrera is just one of the many conservative women running this year.
I never walked around saying I'm a Republican. Hispanic Americans, we believe in work ethic. We believe in the American dream, the ability to create for the next generation a better way of life. Those are fundamental principles, bedrock principles of the Republican Party.
Do you love the sound of New Mexico's next governor, Susana Martinez?
In New Mexico, Susana Martinez is on the verge of making history.
If you win on November 2nd, then you would be the first Hispanic woman to be governor of any state. And that's quite a remarkable achievement, and one that will follow you for the rest of your life, because you will have been the first. And how does that make you feel?
You know, I'm very humbled by that, and certainly it would be an honor. But you know, what's more important is the work product, what I do for New Mexicans. At the end of the day, it's going to be how successful I am as a governor for the state of New Mexico, regardless of the fact that I'm a female and Hispanic. And that will speak for itself.
But Martinez wasn't always a Republican.
I was a registered Democrat, mostly because my parents were registered Democrats, and I didn't give it a lot of thought as to why until I had 2 leaders in our community, Republicans, who took my husband and I out to lunch, and we started to talk about issues. They never mentioned the word Republican or Democrat. They never mentioned the words conservative or liberal. We just talked about issues and where we stood on those issues. And then when my husband and I walked out after about 2 hours of conversation, I sat in the car with my husband and said, "Oh my God, we're Republicans."
No more bailouts.
Colorado's 7th congressional district candidate, Ryan Frazier, from my home state of Colorado and someone that I've supported, has gone through a political evolution of his own.
Growing up in southeastern North Carolina, in black community, everybody thinks that they're a Democrat. It was through that process, kind of growing up, you had that lens in which you looked out and saw the world. But as I got to see more of the world, in reality, I realized that there was a better party for me.
Family and community influences aren't the only factors that determine one's political views.
As a state representative who comes from Hispanic or Mexican descent, this was a natural fit for me with the values that this party holds.
From time to time, people, they see me and they say, wow, a black guy who's a Republican. I tell them, for me, first and foremost, I'm an American, and it's because of the ideals and principles of this country, and that I believe the Republican Party goes the furthest to try to uphold those ideals.
In college, Frazier served as the head of his college's NAACP chapter. He's now calling on the Republican Party to do more to diversify.
Do you think that today that the Republican Party has sort of learned its lesson that it needed to do more outreach to women and minorities?
I think it's still in process. I say that because I do believe that in many ways Democrats have taken minorities for granted, but that Republicans have not done enough to engage. That's what I hope to do to help the Republican Party grow, is to engage in the Hispanic community, in the black community, in the Asian communities, in order to help bring people together. Because when you get outside of the race debate in this country, you just talk about the issues people care about, we all agree much more than we disagree.
Frazier's fellow Republicans echoed that sentiment.
politics is a people business, and you have to understand what the people want, and the party has all the right tools and the equipment to recruit more minority members who can be goodwill ambassadors, who are part of those communities, to come in the communities and talk to our friends and neighbors. And it has to be a sustaining process instead of being episodic around campaigns.
We have to start talking just about issues important to Hispanic families. They are a proud culture. They want to be recognized as a part of what exists in New Mexico.
I do think that the Republican Party needs to make sure that we are being open to anyone who believes like we do in the free enterprise system. And at times we get off that. Some of that will be helped if the federal government does its job with regard to immigration.
The topic of immigration reform has become a hot-button election issue along border states like New Mexico and beyond.
Is there a way that we can communicate better as a party and as a country when it comes to talking to immigrants that we want in our country, but we want their activity to be legal?
And certainly as a Hispanic candidate, I have been able to communicate the message. If we concentrate on the criminal element, they're very open to that. They're very open to shoring up the border, to making sure that that criminal element doesn't cross our border, or the violence.
After meeting each of these unique candidates, whether African American, Vietnamese American, or Hispanic American, it's very clear. They're all Americans first.
Being an African American Republican in this election, help or hurt or not matter?
I'm not sure it really matters. I think what really matters is that we talk about the issues people care about. And right now, families want to put food on the table, a roof over their head, and clothes on their children's backs. And if we aren't talking about how we get people back to work, how we provide a fiscally responsible government, and how we provide a Congress that's accountable to the people, I don't think we're talking about the issues that people care about right now.
And these candidates believe the GOP is right on the issues.
The Republican Party is a party of the person who wants to make something of themselves, that doesn't want to rely on the government, right? We're the party that says, you want to put in the effort, here's equal opportunity.
It's about individual liberty, an opportunity to be the best that you can be in terms of business or your chosen profession. It is a party that represent all of those values in which we came to this country as immigrants looking for a better future for our family as well as for our children.
And still ahead, Tucker Carlson gives us an inside look at a group bringing real hope and change to Washington. Now here's a hint. It is not the Obama administration.